The next thing that we're going to be talking about in analogies is how we practically approach a question. What happens when I have an analogy question? How do I approach it? We're going to be doing it step by step together. So the first thing that we want to do when we approach an analogy question is to read the question and understand the meaning of the words. We talked about the importance of understanding the meaning of the words. If I don't know the word, it's nearly impossible for me to make a connecting sentence. So I want to make sure that I know what I'm dealing with, that I know the meaning of the words. Let's take an example, crumb and slice. Okay, so I know what crumb is, and I know what slice is. A crumb is a tiny bit of something, usually baked, and slice is separating something, right? If I slice, then it's a separation of things. Separating something, also usually baked. But, so I've read the question, I've understood the meaning of the words. The next thing that I'm going to want to do is to make a connecting sentence. Once I've understood the meaning of my words, I want to make a connecting sentence. We talked about the importance of practicing this, how it's very, very important to create an exact sentence. We talked about the components of the sentence. Basically what I'm trying to do is define one word using the other. Let's say, imagine as if someone doesn't know the second word and you're trying to explain it to him using the first word. How it needs to be short and exact, not too broad, not too specific, don't tell a story, make it objective. And don't limit my world of content. So let's say if it's carpenter and I want to say that he saws, I won't necessarily say he saws, I'll say he does something. I'll use bigger words, not bigger words, more general words in order to not say the specific words saw, because if I put it in my answers, I probably won't have answers that have to do necessarily with saw. So don't limit my world of content, using one word to define the other, and short and exact, not too broad, not too specific. Let's take an example here. Crumb and slice. So I'll say that slice creates crumb. Okay, we talked about our sentence does not need to be grammatically correct. It's just so that we understand the connection between my two words. So I said that slice creates crumb. Take notice that I started from the end here. So we talked about how there is an importance to the order of the words. There is an importance to the order of words, so whatever manipulation I do on the question, I have to do on the answer. So meaning also here, I'll have to first start with the second word and then go on to the first. Okay, so I've created a connecting sentence. The next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to check my answers with our sentence. So put my sentence on the answers with the purpose of disqualifying 3. If I disqualify 3, that's it. The last answer is my correct answer. I purposely gave a connection that is not a great connection. It is definitely too broad because I want to show you what happens when we don't disqualify 3 questions. Let's see how this works here. So slice creates crumb. So I'll start from here, from the second word going on to the first. To plant creates tree. Yes, that's true. To commit a crime creates freedom. No, that's not true. Usually if I commit a crime, I'm going to lose my freedom, so I can disqualify this one. To saw creates sawdust. In a certain sense, that's true. To draw creates a drop. To draw, I'm assuming, is water. Draw, yes, in a certain sense, I would say that it creates a drop. However, we're left here, we haven't disqualified 3 questions, so I can definitely say that my connection wasn't good enough. It was definitely too broad. And there are 2 things that I can do in this case. I can either make a clear connection, or I can make a connection for the answers. We'll talk about that in the second example. Here, what I want to do is I want to make a clear connection. I want to say that a crumb is a byproduct of slice, right? When I slice, I don't want the crumb. The crumb is not the product. The crumb is the byproduct. This is the thing that I don't necessarily want. It just happens along the way. So that's a much clearer, a much more exact connection. And now I started from the first. So again, I'll go to the first word, then on to the second. So is a tree the byproduct of to plant? No, the tree is the product of planting, right? When I plant, I want the tree. So that goes off. Is a drop the byproduct of to draw? No, again, when I draw water, I want the drop. That is the product. Is sawdust the byproduct of to saw? Yes, it is. I don't want the sawdust when I'm making something. Let's say I'm making a table. I don't want the sawdust. It just happens on the way. It's a byproduct. Okay, so that's what happened here. I wasn't able to disqualify 3 questions, and I made a clear connection, got to the right answer. So that's one example. Now I want to make an example what happens when we don't disqualify 3 and we try to make a connection from the answers. So again, let's take a connection that's not so great. We'll see how it reacts in the question. Something that I want to say about this example is that if we had made the correct connection, the more exact connection on the first go, we would have saved a lot of time. We would have saved this whole process. So it really shows the importance of practicing how to make exact connections. It's really, really important. It saves you a lot of time. Now we're going to go on to the second example. Let's make some sort of connection. First, I want to read the questions and understand the meaning of the words. So law, I know what a law is. A rule, a lawmaker is the person that makes the rule. Okay, so I understand the meaning of the words. And the next thing now that I understood is I want to make a connecting sentence. So I'll say that the lawmaker makes a law. Actually, that's a pretty good sentence. So lawmaker makes a law. Again, I've started from the opposite way. So I'll remember to go do that also in the answers. A composer makes a tune. That's true. A payer makes money. No, he's giving away money. To season makes a spice. No, to season means you're adding a spice. You're not making a spice. A charlatan makes a tricked. I guess you could say that. Charlatan definitely makes someone be tricked. Now I'll have to make a connection from the answers and compare between, basically compare between the answers. Once I have a connection, I'll put it on my questions, on my question and see if it works. So tricked and charlatan, I'll say that a charlatan tricks. Now I won't want to use tricks, so I'll say does something. So the other will be tricked. A charlatan does something, so the other will be tricked. So another person will be tricked. Does the lawmaker do something or makes a law so that the other will be law? No. He just, what he makes is the law. There's no thing in the middle here. So I can say that this is not the right answer. Let's check a tune and composer. So a composer creates a tune, a lawmaker creates a law. This is true. So this is my right answer. Okay, so that was the 2 examples. You can either make a clear connection or make a connection from the answers. Summing up what we do in an analogy question, first we read the question, understand the meaning of the words. Once we've understood the meaning, we try and create a connecting sentence between them. Something I want to say about that, it's really, really important to know how to make an exact connecting sentence. It really saves all of this trouble. However, when you're under time, it's not good to, let's say, try and waste a minute on trying and find the exact sentence that's true. What you want to do is, because you're on time, you'll want to make some sort of connecting sentence. That connecting sentence, a lot of the time in the psychomantry, will actually get you to the right answer. And if not, you'll have to do this. But because you're on time, what you'll want to do is you want to get something out so that you can start dealing with the answers and disqualifying some of the answers at least. So that's that. And the next thing that we want to do is check the answers with our sentence. If we've disqualified 3, great, we'll circle the remaining. If we didn't, we'll either make a clear connection or make a connection from the answers like we saw here. That's the approach to the question. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is what happens when we have an analogy where we don't know a certain word.